Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast, episode 14 and a half. My name is Ezra, and I'm joined by...
Sawyer.
And
I'm joined by Sawyer.
I'm joined by Ahmad and Sawyer. So, something weird just happened. It's 9 o'clock. I have to go to my bus soon. But... while we were recording episode 15, Sawyer's phone decided to crap out.
Yeah.
And so...
We were almost an hour and 30 minutes in, and it just decided, I'm going to stop recording. And so we only have, for some reason, no audio files saved. So,
yeah,
that's fun.
Nice. So,
Yeah.
we're going to do a half episode this week. Not even half, it's going to be like a third of the way there.
Lab Rats mini episode.
Yeah, mini episode. And we're going to talk about, this is going to get kind of heavy, toxic fandom.
So, I think we should start off with talking about Harry Potter. Do you think Harry Potter is toxic? Does it have a toxic fandom?
I think it's toxic now. I think as all the books were coming out and all the movies were coming out, it was fine. I think it only got toxic after everything already came out.
Yeah.
Fantastic
Beasts,
and honestly,
I think when J.K. Rowling decided to start George Lucasing her own franchise,
it's her fault, honestly.
Yeah, I think it's all her fault. She caused division where there didn't need to. Harry Potter deserved all of the criticisms it got for whatever stuff that J.K. Rowling was trying to fix, and her way of fixing it was so foolish that it caused this unnecessary division, and it's what's your problem? Why did you do this? So I think that toxic fandom is actually the result of the creator more than anything. Mm-hmm. Now I think an actually toxic fandom is Star Wars.
Star Wars. Okay,
I don't think Star Wars is definitely there's a fandom, that's for sure. But I don't think it's...
The problem is that I think Star Wars was actually the originator of toxic fandom.
Yeah.
You go back to 1999 with the Phantom Menace.
The prequels.
That originated... the amount of hate that Ahmed Best got for Jar Jar Binks is pretty much the first time that's ever really happened.
Which is always so interesting to me because it's the same director, same person who did the original 3 movies, but it was received with the same backlash. But it's from the same mind.
There's I don't think ever been a series that had ever been hyped up more at the time than Star Wars had.
Also, I think George Lucas is a real problem now for Star Wars fans because he trolls them.
He made the original series.
George Lucas doesn't troll them nearly as much as Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson do.
Now, I don't agree with him having to go back and...
I don't know. There's no footage of Kathleen Kennedy going, being asked, who's your favorite Star Wars character, and going, I don't know, I like all of them, Jar Jar Binks. That's
George
literally...
he's just mad. That's what
that's my issue, though. You're mad, but you've made how many billions of dollars off of this franchise that's affected how many millions of people, right? This is... stop being a jerk about your own thing that people love. And
Lucas is just, at this point, he's just a grumpy old man. It's not I don't think he's angry necessarily with the fans. He just doesn't care anymore. It's his thing.
Yeah. Which is why he never should have been on the set of Star Wars.
Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, I think, are actively going against a section of the fans. The whole thing you have with a series is... with just business in general, your customer is always right.
Yeah.
Granted, I know they want Star Wars is massive and you can't please everybody. That being said, the studio making a movie should not go outright and call their fans sexist or misogynist for not liking a movie you put out simply because most people didn't think it was good.
Were they referring to Rose's character? Or?
Well, just The Last Jedi in general. Just I disagree. Yes, I do definitely think there were people who were like that, and they're wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't think a studio should outright and say, if you don't like this movie, you're just sexist.
You can't forget about the fans. It's the fans. Is the reason why the movies are still being created right now, right?
The only reason that Star Wars has even survived this long and been as big as it is because of the fans.
Mm-hmm, right.
It is a massively important series that has shaped the current state of entertainment in general.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. It's freaking one of the first blockbusters to ever exist. But I mean,
it started fandom.
Right.
That and Star Trek are really what started fandom.
Mm-hmm. I can't really think of anything prior to that had such a big following.
Like comic books did, but it was so underground.
Right.
It didn't really come to the surface until Star Wars was.
All those insanely long lines for all the original.
Yeah. And there's some really cool stuff. And I think like the problem is that if something's big, some of the people who will consume it are not good people. And so I think the problem is that one bad apple spoils the bunch, right? And I think that's something that has happened in a lot of fandoms, including Star Wars, where you have people who are actually sexist and racist, and they're talking about Rose's character.
Finn's character.
Finn's character. I think
Even Rey's character.
I think Rose was probably the bigger
Rose
flash
got
point.
the most heat.
Yeah, and I think
Rey and Finn were okay, I guess, because they were in The Force Awakens, so everybody was cool with that. I mean,
there was the issue with The Force Awakens about Finn and the Stormtrooper thing.
Yeah.
I honestly think that also got blown out of proportion because I think some people were just questioning because they believed that Stormtroopers were still clones.
Yeah.
So when they saw him, I think some people were like, "Wait a minute, how?" Because people didn't really realize that they weren't by that point still clones.
Yeah, because now he's like a refugee.
And I think people were saying, "Well, how is a Stormtrooper black?" Got turned out of, instead of it being, "Oh, well, how can he be because they're clones?" It got turned into, "I don't want Stormtroopers to be." I think it got way blown out of proportion in The Force Awakens.
Right.
Yeah, right. And I think like. That's a problem, and I also think that I think the Rose thing is an interesting flashpoint because I think that if you had done away with her character, then
not her character, more so her character's choices, like what the decisions that she makes.
Well, yeah, but I think that like if you do away with those decisions, you slim down the movie, and it might actually be a little better for it.
I don't think there is a world in which we got a Star Wars movie post the prequels that pleases everybody.
Right.
I don't think there's a Star Wars movie that exists that can do that. Because you make something like The Last Jedi, which is bold and makes new decisions, and people hate it. You make a movie like The Force Awakens, which is basically just nostalgia in 2 hours.
Yeah,
right.
And people criticize it for being the same thing.
Yeah. There is no way they can make a movie
Although,
that's going to
I loved The Last Jedi.
Also, I mean, there are some movies that come Rogue One to
Rogue One came close because it had a balance, but I think it was also partially because it was that Vader. Movie. It was a war movie, and they had that Vader scene at the end, just appeased everybody.
Right. Yeah. Also, I wish they would have taken out the scene where Vader has the cheesy one-liner beforehand, and just that would have made.
Oh no, I thought that. I always think that scene.
Don't choke on your
aspirations.
Aspirations, yeah. I mean,
I think like there's.
Well, like I mean,
I love like the memes of him making dad jokes were worth it for me. I think that's hilarious.
But like it would have made the ending. What I'm trying to say is like the ending a little bit more impactful and surprising because like throughout the film, I wasn't expecting. Sorry, I'm centering this entire discussion of Rogue One.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting the Vader thing.
So like, I just think with Star Wars. Like, The Last Jedi, I personally was not a fan of. I think it had cool moments, and we'll go into this more in other projects we'll talk about at the end of this mini episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not a movie that I personally love, but I did not agree with the decisions of the director and CEO of Lucasfilm to personally come out and attack those who didn't like it and blanket them all as sexist and racist.
I think Johnson's career is interesting because he goes from low-key indie films to Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
One of the most hated.
And he basically said in that movie, "Screw the past, screw the fans," right? And like that comes with consequences,
right, yeah.
and I think that Lucasfilm was not prepared for those consequences, and I think.
Lucasfilm wasn't prepared in general.
Yeah, and again, I really like the movie, but I think like you did say screw the fans. You know what that entails.
You should have known what was going to come.
Yeah.
Part of me respects them for being this bold, like with changing with the script in general. But when stuff like that's said, it's just like you can't forget the core of why Star Wars, like we said, why Star Wars is become as culturally significant as it is. So you can't do that. I mean, which is the problem.
Well, it was a mistake. I think it was a mistake for them to do this.
It was also somewhat of a...
I think it was a mistake for J.J. Abrams to not direct all three.
They needed uniformity in this trilogy.
Yeah.
You can't start off the trilogy just doing what was done before and then kind of set a precedent, and then the next movie radically alters what we know.
Yeah, and then 9 is going to be the same thing that Force Awakens was.
So you're going to have a very uneven trilogy. It's going to feel like a mess. These characters haven't really progressed. Finn is still pretty much the same character.
I think Rey has progressed. I think Rey's
progressed.
Rey's progressed.
Rey
and she's the only one who has.
Had Finn sacrificed himself, I mean, this is like a horrible thing to say, but I feel like that would have been
it would have been a fitting end.
A fitting end for his character at least.
Although, I was thinking like,
which is why people are partly mad at Roman.
I was mad. I was mostly disappointed that nobody died.
There was no consequence for anything that happened. Except
let's keep this.
Let's bring it back to
other toxic fandoms that I feel like are kind of still roaming about. This isn't as much now, but it used to be very toxic. Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty I think it was also because of the memes. Right. They got so popular and so fast.
Well, and Szechuan sauce was a
it was
one.
Pickle Rick and the sauce.
Szechuan sauce.
Yeah. But it's a legitimately great show, and it's one of my favorite animated, just shows in general. But the community it started to dial it back a little bit. Yeah. But this new season also hasn't come out yet.
Right.
I'm interested to see when the new season comes out if it's gonna start all over.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna interject an interesting thought that I have, which I think is the Sonic fandom has an interesting dynamic where it's got because Sonic nowadays is not very good.
No, it's
and
not.
I'm happy to admit that. But it's also got this sort of screw the outside, we're all in this together aspect to it, where it's
it's also a haven for the furries.
Yes. And I think so there was that old meme of the Sonic was never good thing that where IGN was screw Sonic fans, we don't like Sonic fans. And
yikes.
It was weird, right? Because I was for one thing, they've given Sonic games really good scores over the years, and so for me it's you do realize that you're not actually representing your website very well, which IGN doesn't do a good job of that anyways.
That's a whole other topic.
I think IGN probably contributes to the toxic fandom more than they don't do that.
Their comment section contributes to it more than anything else.
That's true. But I think I think the fandom is still kind of toxic because I think every fandom is kind of toxic. Even the Kingdom Hearts fandom, which should be super wholesome, is toxic.
Star Trek's getting pretty bad now too.
Yeah.
It's also sad with Star Trek because that whole series has always been about inclusivity and just peacefulness, and it's made it more than 50 years fine, and then they had the issues with they explicitly made Sulu gay and beyond, even though it was just one small scene that doesn't affect the movie at all.
Yeah.
And then Discovery, basically. There's a whole I don't want to get into the whole thing, but there's a lot of issues with people about Discovery and it's a whole thing. And so Star Trek, it's sad because the series that's always been about inclusivity is now tied up in political issues and
weird controversy.
Yeah.
Too.
Also, it just messes with the canon with the Klingons and everything, but that's a whole thing. Yeah.
Also, this is a surprising one. So I guess Steven Universe, the cartoon, is a toxic fan?
Yeah, I don't watch the show. I don't know if you guys do.
I don't.
I have heard about some of it when I was doing research for this topic. That it's not something I really want to go into on here. Okay. But from what I've seen of some of the community on sites like Tumblr and Facebook has been extremely. It's kind of most of the community is very. I don't really know how to put this in a podcast friendly way of going.
But I mean, so is it just negative
And also people are a lot of the community for that is very, I will say, emotional is the phrase.
Yeah.
They're very touchy, and so.
Oh, are they like, this thing is so great, don't say a word about it, that kind of thing?
It's that, and it's also partially people have a large connection to it because a lot of the audience has some issues, I guess is the way I will phrase it.
I don't know what the show's about, so I
mean, it's a harmless kids cartoon.
Oh.
But it's also been marketed as a show that is very progressive in terms of representation in the show.
Yeah.
And so, the one story that I knew about was that a fan drew some character differently than the way she's portrayed in the show, and there was massive backlash about that, despite that it was just fan art and nothing.
Well, and it's like most of the characters are like blue and pink, right?
Yeah, it was one character was drawn skinnier than she really is, and that resulted in backlash saying it was against representation, despite the fact that this was one fan image on her Tumblr page, and she received so much hate that she actually ended up in the hospital for stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that was.
Was it the?
If we're talking toxic fandom, there is no fandom that is. Yeah, it might have been that one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I think people who say bad stuff should still like. If they say one bad thing one time, then they shouldn't have their lives destroyed.
Yeah.
And that's like if they say one bad thing about a real person, right? If you keep saying bad stuff about real people, then that's like, one thing. But it's like you drew one thing that's maybe not to the the actual like representation of the character.
It's not
in the
like
show.
She's writing or animating for the show. She's just a fan.
I mean, that's the thing about fan art. You look up anything for any TV show, the fan art's always going to be different because it's their sort of
and it's like
creative.
Like you can do whatever you want with fan art. That's the point.
And clearly, this series is. I mean, it's infamous. I don't even watch the show, and I've heard about how bad the fandom is.
Right, which is like it's insane because it's a kids show. I don't know. I don't want to say kids because we're literally just talking about.
It is. It's designed. It's just.
It's literally about a kid who's talking about how he is his own universe or something.
Really?
Like it's like that. It's
I have
so
no
weird.
idea what it's about. It looks like Adventure Time based on the photos I've seen.
It looks super trippy though.
That's a cool whole thing I want to talk about, but
we'll talk about that.
We don't have time.
There were so many good things that we talked about on this episode.
Oh my gosh, I'm so disappointed.
We apologize. But no, I don't know. Just
it's a real
like
shame.
that really gets. I mean, because you just it's her own creative interpretation as to what she wants to do.
Yeah, and it's like you could do whatever you want, and you're not hurting anybody. Like what's the deal?
Like I'm saying, the people on there who were getting so upset, I'm like, it was one drawing on her own Tumblr page. How is that hurting anybody that she makes one drawing on her blog?
I don't know, but moving on.
And then it makes national news.
Yeah, that's. I didn't even know it. I like the second I looked.
Like this is the like that's national news, and like the fact that makes national news, and there's like legitimately horrible stuff happening in the world today, and the fact that got national news is a sign of how.
Granted, I'm sure it wasn't prime time. It was probably like.
Right.
Morning, whatever.
Probably, but it's like there's tons of stuff that isn't reported that should be.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's a whole thing.
All right, and then, I guess the Voltron.
I don't know enough about Voltron.
Yeah, I can't speak to that. No, I will say I think most fandoms are inherently toxic because they all have toxic people.
The bigger they are, the harder they fall.
Exactly, and I think that's.
I'm trying to think of like other major sort of franchises.
Marvel and DC.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Marvel and DC.
Well, the movies have been relatively okay, I think. The comics, compared to Star Wars.
Compared to Star Wars,
and
sure.
But like. The comic books have actually gotten a lot more of it.
I think Captain Marvel is about to open a whole floodgate.
That's gonna Black Panther open a whole game.
That's gonna be
Marvel
like
versus Wonder Woman and like a just.
I think I'm probably gonna like Captain Marvel, but I think the people who don't like Captain Marvel are allowed to not like Captain Marvel,
and it's gonna get blamed. People who don't like it are gonna get pinned as
as sexist, and it's like, and that's gonna. And it's like that's gonna.
Black Panther's already fueled, especially with the whole Best Picture nomination. Yeah. It's already fueled a whole lot of.
Without giving on my whole soapbox, that movie is clearly nominated for one reason only.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, well, it's like that. Well, I think that movie is nominated for 2 reasons.
Yeah.
And I think, unfortunately, if we lived in a different world where also things like Star Wars and the Avengers got nominated for Best Picture, then I wouldn't really care. I would actually think that it should be up there. But I just think like
some of the Best Picture nominations, like if Beale Street Could Talk didn't even get a nomination, freaking Green Book and Bohemian Rhapsody got the nomination. Green Book, I guess I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really.
Yeah, well, and like this is my thing, right? I think BlacKkKlansman probably deserves it over literally everything else on that list. But I think
Vice shouldn't even be nominated.
Yeah, Vice shouldn't be nominated. We talked about this.
Yeah, and I think
why is Vice up there?
Yeah, and I think like A Star Is Born is going to rob it.
A Star Is Born is a good movie. A Star Is Born is good, but
it's popular and it's well made. It's going to win because they want.
When you look at the sort of Oscar Best Picture, that's that sort of pattern of either it's very popular. I mean, but then you have like the wild cards like Moonlight and stuff like that where it beat out La La Land.
Well, but Moonlight was still relatively popular.
No, not when it. No, nobody knew about it before.
And if you look at 2000
before the win.
Yeah. You look at, I guess it was 2010, but 2009 movies. Hurt Locker beat out Avatar.
Right. So I mean, so there are cases of wild cards where that could happen. In terms of impact, BlacKkKlansman wins. I mean, that movie was a lot more impactful, but also A Star Is Born was really impactful too. So I mean, it's hard to say, but
it's also a remake. It's also like the 4th remake of that movie, right? It's like,
but, in terms of,
I don't know. I just feel like
there's movies. Half the movies up there shouldn't be up there.
The Oscars are also kind of toxic.
Right. Yeah, the film community in general is pretty toxic.
That's true.
Not as much as the video game community, though. The video game community.
Well, the video game community skews so young, and they have so much power that it's just like it was bound to.
There's no filtering on the game community.
With the film community, it's mostly just like, hey, these are the movies you have to like. If you don't like them, then you're not tasteful.
Yeah, it's like if you don't like Citizen Kane, what are you in the film community?
Right. So I mean, which is why I respect people like some of the professors here, because they like weird and quirky movies.
Well, and I'm not.
We watched Miami Connection with a film professor. That was like that's what I did.
I didn't even know that was a thing. A freaking kung fu movie.
A kung fu movie that
where
was
the story that's set in like a Florida campus or like
don't watch it.
It also doesn't even take place in Miami, despite being called Miami Connection.
Yeah.
It's sometimes where people have different tastes in movies. I like that. I respect that. I mean, also you do have the clear cuts where it's like, yes, this movie, everybody likes this movie and it's really good.
So with that was very depressing.
Not where we wanted to end, but I mean.
So let's
wrap it up.
Yeah, just a quick announcement. We're planning on within the next 2 weeks doing our first movie commentary on Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
We're going to consider that an apology for the lack of a full-length episode.
Yes.
Now this is pod racing. It's working. I'm sorry.
It's going to be hard to avoid making reference to memes while we're watching these movies.
Oh man, we're just going to be memeing it up. It's going to be really funny.
You want if I take the announcement for the commentaries there, because there's more to say. But,
go ahead.
So we're planning on. So we have just enough time left in this semester for us to watch every single canon Star Wars live-action movie.
That is not an Ewok.
That is not. Oh, it's not canon. So
okay.
We have enough time to watch every canon Star Wars live-action movie. We're gonna watch them in chronological order, and there will be a commentary hopefully every Friday for each movie, and we're probably crossing our fingers going to double up Solo and Rogue One, so you might get a 1-2 punch for those.
Watch
movies.
Solo.
Well, no.
Watch
We'll
Solo
probably
first.
so we're not gonna do a 1-2 punch. We'll record them at the same time, and then you'll release them week by week.
We're gonna watch Solo first and then cleanse the palate with Rogue One.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna do episode 1 this Friday. We're gonna do episode 2 the Friday after that, and then it's just gonna be 3 Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
We're gonna end on a down note, but we'll be.
Oh my god.
Hey, it'll be a controversial.
It'll be a controversial note.
Also,
not a down.
I have some like ideas as to how we could go about this, but that's for later discussion.
And we will not be covering the Clone Wars movie because we basically consider that an episode of the show. We will not be covering the holiday special because
trash.
Trash. And we will not be covering the Ewok movies because Ezra doesn't want to.
Yes.
Boo.
Ahmad, you don't want to.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do.
Yes, you do. You want to watch.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm podcasting.
maybe this Christmas, if we can convince Ezra, we'll do a Christmas holiday special and watch the holiday special.
I would be down for that.
It's only 90 minutes.
It's not terrible.
Maybe.
Come on.
Well,
maybe.
If you can find a way, basically what we're going to do for these is, since we can't show the footage, we're going to just record the audio only, and we'll have Ahmad clap at the beginning so you can sync it up with the movie and watch us talk about the movie as the movie plays.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, we're starting the book club thing. We're going to find a name for that.
Book club sounds like so depressing. No,
homework.
Lab Rats Project.
Lab Rats homework.
Lab Rats slice of cheese. I don't know.
Can we just take a moment to say how much better our name is than our previous name?
Oh my gosh.
Like, it's actually,
I can't believe we ran with the Catacast for 12 episodes.
12 weeks we ran with that.
K-Cast?
K-Cast.
We should use an A instead. I don't know why we didn't do that.
I'm not going to be able to get out of that Catacast rhythm. Though, so
Spotify still hasn't. But
that's, well, we've given up on Spotify, by the way.
So if you're an Android listener, I guess you're clearly not listening to this on Spotify right now because it won't let you.
Yeah.
But move over to Google Play Music because that's where our future episodes for Android users will be. Not losers, users.
Oh my god! I was legitimately like, wait, is he about to roast Android users more than I do?
Sorry, about to pull a Johnson. We can call up fans.
Oh my god!
You'll also have YouTube if you want to use YouTube, but no.
Oh my gosh!
But yeah, we checked Google Music Play and it works on there, so it's a good substitute.
Google Play Music, iTunes, I guess Apple Podcasts now. Podbean and YouTube.
Yeah. No Spotify anymore.
And then also, let us know if there's any services that are not going to cost anything you'd like us to add this podcast to. Because I know people have expressed interest in Stitcher, but it's kind of hard to get it on Stitcher. But I will take a look.
So if there's other stuff that's mildly accessible, thumbs up. We'll try to get it on there.
Share this with your friends.
Yeah. What else was there?
Right.
We're doing Fate Stay Night for the book club. So Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. It's on Netflix. Do yourself a favor and watch it. And
you do social media.
You do social media.
Follow us on Twitter at CastKate. We still can't get rid of the handle from Catacast days. But our name is now the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast.
Yeah.
But we're still at CastKate. And then you can follow us on Instagram at the Lab Rats Podcast.
Cool.
We'll be posting, hopefully, weekly recommendations for stuff on there, and we will tag it in the comments on who said what. That way it doesn't just seem like it's all me.
Also, give us some feedback. Let us know if you guys want us to check anything out. Maybe for the book club or something, we could try something out or something. Yeah. Just give us feedback as to how we're doing improvements and stuff.
Share with your friends, your family, your coworkers.
Yeah. Yes, we need listeners.
Yeah. We need listeners.
So with that, I'm Ezra.
I'm Ahmad.
And I'm Sawyer.
That's the Lab Rats Entertainment Podcast.
Bye.